All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started this morning. Thank you for joining me in the Learning Lab. Today, we are going to be talking about interior pages for your Sitebuilder website. So those interior pages are anything on your website that is not your homepage. So it can be content, it can be forms, it can be different SEO pages, it can be all sorts of different things. So today I'm going to go through a couple of different topics here, just because I want to make sure that this is a great overview for you. I am going to show you where you can find your interior pages. We're going to go over the types of interior pages that we have available to you. We're going to go ahead and create a simple interior page just so you can see how they work. And then I also want to make sure that you understand how you can change some of your interior pages to make sure that you're optimizing it for SEO and things like that. So that's kind of where we're going to head today. And I will show you on our system where you can get additional help at the end, just in case you want to break down some of these topics a little further, and just in case you kind of want to drill down into some of the more specific things about creating interior pages. But today is going to be a big overview, just so that you know what you have available to you and how to do it. All right, so you should all be able to see my screen share. And right now I am logged into rwtconnect.com. This is where we get started on our interior pages and everything else having to do with Sitebuilder. I'm going to go up here to my hamburger menu. That's that 3 lines up here at the very top. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to open up my menu, and I'm headed over to Sitebuilder, which is where we control everything relating to our websites. In previous classes, we've done a lot with search, we've done a lot with layouts and site editor. That's your homepage right there, your site editor. Today, we are specifically focusing on this category right here, which is interior pages. And again, this is anything that's on your website that is not your homepage. I'm on my training account today, so I've got all sorts of craziness back here. But this is what your interior page navigation looks like. You have a couple of options here. Just want to show you what this looks like. You do have the option to go to your homepage editor. So for whatever reason, you have been working on an interior page and you want to bounce back to your homepage, you're certainly welcome to do that. If you just click that, it'll take you over to the site editor section. You do have a search bar right here. It's really light. Hopefully you guys can see this, but you do have a way to search pages. So as you start to create content and as you get more and more content in here, if you need to go ahead and search, you certainly can. If I scroll down here, though, most of the time we don't have so many interior pages that we need to search for them. They're all in alphabetical order, so you just have to remember which order or what you named your page. So in this case, it's going to be, we have our 123 Main Street open house. We have some abouts. Here's some stuff about some communities and things like that. And again, everything is right in alphabetical order. Scrolling back up, just want to show you a couple of the buttons and how you navigate through here. If you need to add a page, we're certainly going to come right back to this. There's an add button right here. We're going to talk a lot more about this today on that add button. But I do want you to also notice that it does break things down into categories. So if you're looking for something specific to change, you can also kind of narrow it down. The default is always on all. So in this case, I have 58 pages here, but it's also telling me I have 22 links. I have a featured section. I have 5 lead forms. I have 15 regular pages, 3 profile pages. Most of you are only going to have 1, but of course this is a trading account. I have 9 SEO pages and what we call 3 system pages. So these are pages that are already built into the system that were available to you when we turned on Sitebuilder. So those system pages are going to be things like your contact us button and things like that. We want to make sure that we keep that because we use that for different places in our system outside of your own website. We also use it for things like the contact button on our company roster on the company website as well. And again, scrolling down, we can just see just kind of how we navigate through here. We're going to come back to this settings more toward the end of class, but there are some settings that you can change for each individual page. It's a slightly more advanced section, so I do want to just cover some of our other things before we come back to it. If you ever need to delete a page for whatever reason, you do have a delete button here. Just remember that once you delete it, it is gone forever. There's nothing that we can do to recover it. So be judicious in your deletions. And if you ever need to edit a page that you have created, of course, you have this edit page button right here as well. All right, before we go any further, I want to take a look at a couple of the different pages that we're going to be able to create. And that way you have a better understanding of it when we go back to this add button. So let me switch screens real quick. And I am going to go on Ralston Audain's website. So we use this website for a lot of different examples so that you can see what we're creating and what is available to you. So I just wanted to show you what these look like live because they seem to make a little bit more sense when we look at adding them in the future. If you ever have any questions, by the way, you are welcome to use the ralstonaudain.com to go and look for different examples and things like that. That's why we leave it here when we all meet with you guys in the offices or when you make an appointment with web support or marketing. We'll often bring up this site to be able to show you some examples as well, but you're welcome to use it. So we have lots and lots of different kinds of pages in here that are available. I'm going to start with the system lead pages and the lead page examples. We don't talk about them all that often, but they are in here. You do have some system lead pages that are built in. You basically just have to tell the system you want to turn them on. And they can be anything for CMA, getting pre-approved, how much is your home worth. It's a slightly different type of page than your home worth tool. This is really about collecting information. Plain old information requests, relocation requests, scheduling home tours, seller request. And there is a custom form, but that doesn't mean we can do custom fields. It just means that we have some custom background options there. I just want to show you what those look like, just in case you want to turn one on. Something like, how about the seller request? This is what that form looks like. And again, on these system lead pages, you're just turning these on. We can't change any of the fields. It's the way the system works. But it does make a really nice form for a seller request. So I am selling my home and I would like, obviously, some checkboxes here for some more information. I'm moving out of the area and this is what I'd like to do. They have a comment section and they're able to go ahead and put in their contact information and things like that. This is a great form to be able to attach inside another page, maybe link off to it for whatever reason, or even if you are doing some advertising on social media, maybe you want to go ahead and put some of these forms in your signature that you have, especially if you're doing calls to action in your signature. These are just great things for people to be able to click on and give you some information on here. Just want to show you a couple of other ones on here. Here's something called an information request. This is kind of a generic one that just gives you some contact information or some comments and some contact information. Here's one to do a CMA. So if you're doing some work on, hey, get a free competitive market analysis, or hey, do you need to know how much your home is worth? In addition to giving them the tool, you could also give them something like this with a form. And this, of course, is just going to break it down and try to get some more information. This doesn't go to the how much is your home worth tool. This is literally just a lead form to collect information. So we do have those system lead forms available. We also have lead page examples. These are lead forms that while we can't change the fields, we can actually change the design a little bit. So these are things like, I'm just going to take a quick look at a couple of these. This one doesn't make any sense, but this is how it looks when it comes out of the system. Obviously, something like this, we're able to change the title, we're able to change the verbiage, we are able to change this background photo. Some of them do allow you to change the colors, not all of them do, but these lead forms can be used for anything. We have several agents who use these as squeeze pages. So that means that if they give you your full name, email address, and or maybe send you a message and hit the send button, that it takes them to another page so they can get more information. So those are often used in that respect. Sometimes people will use those lead pages just to say, sign up for my newsletter or just to get more information. Just to give you a different example here, ready for your first home. This is able to be changed. So this is a customizable field. We can certainly change the verbiage that goes in here. You can change your call to action, but again, we can't change these form fields. We use a different tool for that if we want to do some really customized lead captures. We do those with our Microsoft products, and everybody has access to that. We have done that class in the past. It should be available in the training library, but I'll also show you where that is at the end. All right, so we do have a bunch of different lead pages built in, but we also have things like neighborhood reports, market reports, and just content pages that we can put on there. So just looking at the neighborhood reports, again, we've done classes on these. I know that you guys have seen a lot of them, but we'll just take a look today so you can see what's available. These are considered our market insight reports. So these already have calls to action built in, and they're made to be really informational for different products in different communities, different types of niche markets and things like that. This one happens to be for Eagle Harbor, which is a big community over in Carrollton. You'll notice that this one has calls to action on it. We were able to customize this header up here with a different photo and certainly some verbiage. This one has a save search attached to it so that we can go ahead and provide information about active pendings and solds that are in the neighborhood, as well as some additional information, market reports, calls to action, lots of different things that are on here. So that's available. But you also have different types of pages as well that are really SEO pages that don't have all of the market insight reports on them. They might just be for active listings, or you might be using it to try to gather more information or kind of provide a landing page with a lot of different information on it. Let me give you a quick version of that. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Lots of land for sale. Sorry about that. So this is a page that was built on an SEO page. So it's a little bit different than a market insight report. It was made specifically to be more for an active property. But I do want to show you that we have some additional information on here that you might not have seen yet. So this is lots and land for sale. We have a little bit of a write-up that we can do. Obviously, we can change that photo in the background. But I want you to notice that we do have some additional links that can go on here. We have some pages that allow you to start creating content within content. I love using these, especially if you have more to say. This could be a great use for doing maybe a city or a community, and you want to put links to the HOA. You want to put links to the school district. You want to put links to things that you can do that are fun. Maybe you want to swap it out so that you have both condos and single family homes in a particular neighborhood. You can also use it for things like adding your contact information in here. Just so that you can see what one of these might look like on a live site, I do have 2 examples of what some of these pages might look like on some websites that have been built out by some of our own agents, just as great examples here. So I wanted to show you this one first. This is Sarah Oob. She happens to be up in the Peninsula Williamsburg area, but I wanted you to see what an example of something like a squeeze page would look like and how you could use those lead forms. Notice that she has a little section up here called free downloads. And you can download her travel guide or her buyer's guide on here. And if you just click on one of those, it's saying, here's your travel bucket list. If I went ahead and put my name and information in here and clicked view and download now, it would just take me to another page where it was available for me to be able to view that file. And here's another really interesting example using that same kind of content page I just showed you. This one doesn't happen to have any properties on it. You can actually do this with just a content page as well. But this one happens to be from our Powers and Rawls group. And notice that they have this page built out, nice background, and it's about buying a home. But notice that they've taken advantage of using those extra links that are available on that page type for just having search for homes, their own listings, and tell us what you're looking for. And that goes off to one of those, again, those system lead pages that we just talked about. There's that personal home tour right there. So just utilizing the tools that we already have available to us in different ways on here. Of course, we can build out just plain old content pages as well. And you can see that in some of these designation pages that we've already created. So I'm just going to grab this one, the Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist. And you'll notice that this one, again, has that beautiful graphic header. All of this is mobile responsive. And it allows us to go ahead and put in whatever content we like down here. All right, now that we've taken a look at some of the live pages, let's show you how you can add some of these interior pages and types to your website. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this for the time being. And again, I'm back on RWT Connect and I'm back on interior pages. And again, I got there by going to that hamburger menu, to Sitebuilder, and then interior pages. And it has put me right here on all of my interior pages. I said I would come back to that add button, and that's exactly where we're going to go. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And the reason I wanted to show you all of the pages ahead of time was because we have this available to us. This window pops up every single time you click that. It's saying, what do you want to add to your website? I'm hoping that you understand more about what the different types of pages are so that when you look at this menu, you know what you might be trying to do. If you need to add a link, so this is a link that you might end up using in your navigation menu. So maybe this is the link that goes off to an external website. We use this for something like your how much is your home is worth, because that's actually going off your website and onto our buy side product. So we had to create a link for everyone to be able to put that into their navigation menu. If you want to go ahead and create a link, you're just going to go ahead and give it a title, and then you'll pop that URL in here. This is a great thing to do if you want to put something like find me on Facebook or join me on Instagram in your navigation menu. You might use this because it's going to link off to an external website, and you can go ahead and just title that link whatever you need to. And of course, put that URL in there and then hit create, and it'll go ahead and add that link. By the way, if you're in here and you're starting to explore for the first time, or you're not finding what you're looking for, you can always use this little back button right here, and it'll take you back to that menu. Yeah. All right, we have a couple of options here. Yep, let me go ahead and mute. There we go. We're going to actually talk about this featured property section and the property profile and the resume section in our next class. That's the one coming up in 2 weeks. So I am going to hold off on doing these 3 today because they're really specific. We're just going to focus really on kind of the content portion of it today. But please join me in another 2 weeks, in the next 2 weeks on Monday, and we'll be going over some of the featured properties, the resume, and the profile page, as well as mobile contact cards in that class. So just know that I'm skipping over those for a reason, but they are in a different section. All right, so let's focus on these that we've talked about today. And those are those lead forms, those pages, SEO pages, and again, those system pages. So those lead forms are going to be things that I said that you could customize. So if I go ahead and click on lead form, notice that it's brought me back to that section here where I'm going to have to give it a title. And then I have the option to either choose lead pages or system lead forms on here. I want you to know that that title that you give it becomes the URL. So let me explain how that works. So maybe I'm creating a new lead form on here, and it's going to be to collect information, let's just say for a buyer's guide. I might title this something like buyer's guide. Once I hit publish, that form or that page I've created will become, let's just say ralstonaudain.com/buyers-guide. Anytime that you put a space into something, it's going to become a dash. Now, you can go back and change that. And I'm going to show you how you can change that in your settings if you want to shorten that up or whatever you want to do. That title also becomes the meta title of your page. So if you've ever been Googling something and you see the big, blue section that says, search homes in Virginia Beach, here's homes in Virginia Beach, whatever it happens to be, that's the title. So this becomes 2 things. It becomes both the URL in the future and the title. Let me give you a little hint about this, especially if you're going to start creating things for communities. It really, really hates apostrophes. So if you have something, let's just take the example up here for the community Ford's Colony. If we were creating something for Ford's Colony, for example, we would not want to do this because that apostrophe would cause an error in the URL. So we would want to go ahead and create it without one, so no special characters or things like that. And we can always go back and add it later. So in this case, I am going to put buyer guide here just because that's what we're going to create. And then I'm going to choose which category I want. Every time that you go into one of these different sections, you're going to have different options for things. So in this case, we have lead pages and system lead forms. Now, those system lead forms we know can't be changed. We can't change the background on them and things like that. So we're going to head for the lead pages in this particular case. And then we have lots of different options here. I want you to notice that some of these are more customizable than others, but they're going to have different information that you can change on here. You can change those background photos again, and you can certainly go ahead and change much of the text that's in here as well. We can't, again, customize the fields, but we can go ahead and customize other things as well. If you want to use some of these forms for different reasons, you can certainly do that. Even though this one is for how much is my home worth, it basically says it's just a call to action button on here, and you're going to be able to change that call to action. If you want to repurpose one of these for something other than how much is my home worth, and you just need a call to action button, you don't actually want to collect information, you can certainly go ahead and do that to send somebody off to another area. But if you're looking to do something like just collecting a name and a email address or being able to leave comments and things like that, you're certainly going to look here. This is a really popular one called registration. This one doesn't have a comment box in it. This one just is looking for your name and email. We use this a lot for things like subscribe to my newsletter or get more information, whatever it happens to be. I'm going to use this one for today just because it has less fields on it, just so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and just click on it. You'll notice the box comes around in here. And I'm going to go down to the bottom and hit create. So it added that new lead form. Now, notice that it sent us right back to interior pages. What it did is put it in alphabetical order. So we titled this Buyer's Guide, for example. And here's that Buyer's Guide lead page. And if I want to edit that page, I can go right here to edit page. And if I click it, it's going to go ahead and bring up the content area that I can change. Now, this is just like your site editor. This is just like everything else in the system. What you can do to it is going to be over here on the left, and your preview is going to be over here on the right. Now, if you do need to preview how this looks in desktop or tablet or mobile, you can certainly do that by clicking these buttons up here. So for example, this is obviously the desktop view, but if I were to click mobile, it's going to bring up a little background here pop up that has what it has in there for the mobile. If I want to go ahead and change these, everything is going to be over here in this section over here. So we're going to go to this page content area. And it's going to give us what our options are. So in this case, we just have some blocks that we can fill. Notice there's no advanced editor. We don't have a button that says page editor or things like that. So we can't start putting more images in here. We can't do fancy HTML. We can't do other things. But what we can do is change the title. We can certainly change the text. So we can say something like, get my buyer's guide. And then we can add some text in here if we want to. Sign up for my newsletter today and get your free buyer's guide. Okay. Notice that you can change some of the fonts in here. You can make things bold. You can also make things bigger if you wanted to. This is a little light right now, so sign up for my newsletter today and get your free buyer's guide. Maybe I want to go ahead and make that bold. Maybe I want to make it 18 point, something like that. You can certainly do that. You can also change the font if you want to. So if I go ahead and highlight all that and I just go ahead and change my font, it's going to bring up a list of fonts that are available for you to use. These are, of course, our system fonts. We don't have anything outside of this available to be used, but these are all universal fonts that can be read by any device, Mac, Samsung, Apple, Windows, whatever it happens to be. So you can certainly go ahead and change that as well. If you need to change the background photo, we're obviously going to do that on this one. You can change the background image, but you can also add a mobile background image. So there's two things here. That background image is what's going to show up on a desktop or a tablet. But sometimes we need a mobile background image that may be less busy or showcases something else. You can sometimes make it the same photo, but if you need to make it something different, you certainly can. That's where these little preview sections are going to come in. I'm going to click background image on here, and it's going to let me choose from either the stock images, the company images, or my own images that I can upload in here as well. I'm just going to do company images for today and just grab something. So I'm going to select this image right here. All I did was click on it and hit select image, and it's going to load. So here's get my buyer's guide, sign up for my newsletter today. If I needed to change that mobile background, so the version that shows up in mobile for whatever reason, I can do that as well. So I can change my mobile background. And maybe in this case, I want something a little less busy. This one happens to have a lot going on. Maybe I'm going to choose something like this. And now my mobile background has changed. So if I click on the mobile preview again, it should bring up that new photo. So there's that photo for me in the background. Once I am done making any changes to this, so I have, they can hit send. We can actually put a URL right here if we want to send them to another page. So maybe we've built out a page that has our buyer's guide on it, and we want to send them to that page as soon as they hit send. We can certainly do that. You'll just go ahead and put the URL in there. And this is going to give you some instructions. So when inserting the links, be sure to include the URL, including HTTP or HTTPS. And you can go ahead and put that there. You can also change whether it says send. Maybe this is a call to action, so you can say something like get my guide now, to have them click, and it'll take them off to another page. When we're finished making all of these changes, just like everything else on our website, we're going to go ahead and hit publish. And that will be live on our site right now. So we've titled that buyer guide. Let me show you what that looks like. So remember I said it was going to use that as the URL. So I'm just going to put a slash here. And remember, I titled it buyer guide. And I said anytime I put a space, it was going to create a dash in there. So buyer guide. And there's that page we just created. Let me show you a couple of other different types of pages before we go into changing some of these settings. So again, I'm going to go up to that hamburger menu. I'm going to go to Site Builder and I'm going to Interior Pages. And here we are on our interior pages, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add. And maybe this time I just want to go ahead and add a simple page. So this is going to be a content page of some sort, and it can be anything. If you are interested in just making content pages to be able to share on social media, maybe topics like getting your home ready to sell this fall, or what plants you should put in to sell your home next spring. Maybe you want to talk about your value proposition. I know you guys have been taking a lot of those value proposition classes in the last couple of months, and you guys should all have a great write-up if you've taken it. Those are wonderful things that you can put in these pages. Google loves fresh content. So anytime that you can create a page and it has really good content for you to be able to share on social, maybe share in an e-card, push people back to your website. Google also loves the fact that you're also creating fresh content as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click page. And again, it's going to ask me for that page title, and I'm going to go ahead and put that title in. But before we do that, I want to show you, this one has a lot of different sections on it. I want to go through these really quickly just so that you can see what's available to you. And then we'll come back and I'm going to create a really simple page. Most of the time, we're going to use the text and image. That's a fairly standard page. That's something like, I want a pretty header picture, I want a title on it, and then I'm going to put some content down below it. Or it can be something like, I want a blank page. I just want to start from scratch. It can be something like, I have these like 3 little sections I want, and I want to put some photos in, but I want it to be formatted. I don't know HTML. That's where text and image is going to help. I would say 90% of what we do is on text and image, maybe even more. But there's lots and lots of different page layouts that you can use, and you can get really creative about this. So let's start with calls to action. I'm just going to go right down the list. These call to action pages are really interesting. They do require a little forethought, but you can use them in lots of different ways. So what this does is this page creates all of these blocks that are available to you. So you have block, 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 and they have a title, and they have a description, and they have a link. We've seen this call to action page used in lots of different ways. So one of the best examples of the call to action page, hopefully, I did not pull this up this morning, so I'm hoping this is right, is this page called areas. This is built into everybody's website. This is just all the areas that we serve. And it was made to make sure it was like a clearinghouse of places and links. But this is what a call to action page looks like. So in this case, it has lots of different cities on it and some other kind of generic searches that we do. So things like Virginia, North Carolina, just overall Hampton Roads in Northeast North Carolina. We have seen this page used for all sorts of things. We've seen this page used for view photos from my events. We've seen this page for, hey, here's all the links to all the different utilities you might need. Or here's a link to all these really cool neighborhoods that are featured neighborhoods for me. Or here's the cities I use. Or, all sorts of different things. You can get really creative with this. And if you want a page that's really visual, that has great photos in the background, you can certainly use something like a call to action page. And just be prepared that it does require you to have lots of different links available to you. So this is where you'd probably build out a lot of content, or you might have lots of links that you've collected. I'm a big fan of using something like a little spreadsheet or certainly a Word document to kind of collect all my links before I start this. But you can create a call to action page. Let me bop back over here to our site builder. You'll notice that we have different call outs on here. This is also for the number of callouts that are available. So for example, if you know that you are going to be building something out and you know for sure it's only going to have maybe 6 callouts or 7 callouts, whatever it happens to be, you could certainly choose something with less callouts. I do want you to know that you are able to hide the callouts you're not using. So if you know that you might expand on this in the future, pick something with a ton of callouts, take the time to hide them all. And then if you want to add more callouts to that single page in the future, you don't have to go back and choose a larger page and kind of start over. You'll be able to just go ahead and unhide a callout that you wanted. I want you to also notice that we do have some callouts that have those pretty headers and titles on them as well. So for example, that area page doesn't have that really pretty title header right here, but if I wanted to, I could certainly have that page and put, areas we serve or whatever it happens to be with a nice photo behind it, and then have these calls to action underneath it. All of these calls to action do, however, and it's really hard to see on here, have something called the advanced editor. That allows you to make changes to that top section. It's a little kind of white box that's above there, and be able to add anything that you like. I'm just going to bop back over to that area section again real quick. That's that section right here. We're not utilizing it on this page, but if we wanted to just put a single title without that kind of graphic header, and maybe something like areas we serve, or if you wanted to put a little paragraph trying to tell people what's on this page, you could certainly do that using that advanced editor option. So I do want you to know that that's what's available in here. And these are the calls to action. Let me go back real quick. And I'm going to go back to that page, and I'm going to change my layout. So I'm going to go to text and image. This has a lot of different options in it. You'll just kind of have to take a look and see what's available on here. We use text and image, I believe it's 25 fairly often because it has a blank page down below it. So you're going to notice that you have certain ones with headers on them that are available. You also have options for different blocks with photos. I do want you to know that if you see something like this with a block and a photo and a little button that has a call out in it, you're going to end up having to use what's available on that page. So for example, if you have this one and you're giving it a page title and it has a photo and a text write up and a box and a photo and a text write up and a box and a photo and a text write up and a box, you're going to have to use all 3 of those boxes. So just know that when you're creating content, you might have to have some extra content built out for that. Again, that's 4. If you only had 3 items, you wouldn't be able to hide this last one. It's a little quirk of the system, but just wanted to let you know that it was there. You also have the options of doing things like just a header with a really nice photo and some custom text on here. You might have noticed that we have some of these that look like rosters. That is available here. We have a couple of people who have used this to build out things like my team, especially if you have, a transaction coordinator or you have a marketing person, you have whatever it is, you can do that. We've also seen this for things like vendors and stuff like that. So that is available in here as well. Scrolling down, you can see that you just have lots of different layouts and different types on here. If you like things that are really vertical, you have those. And as we continue to scroll down, you'll see that we have different types and different images. Remember I showed you that page that had those little links? I like to call them mini websites. Here that is right here. It's really difficult to see in the preview, but you can kind of see it, that you'll see that there's some very tiny links right under the main photo. That is the page that supports that. So you'll see that in a couple of the different options in here. That it has that kind of that little mini website feel to it as well. So here's text and image 14. Here's that one with the header, and it's got a photo. It has a place to change it. And of course, you have that little mini website. The nice thing about the mini website is if you think you might use it in the future, certainly go ahead and use text and image 14. You can delete those so they're not there. So there are 6 links available to you, but if you only need to use 3, you can certainly do that. And if you just want to use it and build it out in the future, if you're not sure what the links are going to be yet, you can certainly just go ahead and delete that section as well. We do have an additional contact form here. You should already have a contact form built in to your system. Most people only use one, but if for whatever reason you needed to use a contact form that you wanted to use specifically for something else and to be able to track what that is, we do allow you to create an additional contact form here. You have a layout category called images. This allows you to put very, very large images with just some basic text on them, or even some gallery photos if you wanted to do that as well. So that's available to you. You have what's called a video page option. So this is great if you have maybe a few videos that you want to use as samples. Maybe you say something like, this is what I do for my clients, and you want to link off to a bunch of different like YouTube links on here that will load so that you can show maybe some video that you do for your clients, or maybe these are going to be testimonials or something like that. We see this used a lot for different kind of testimonials. We also see this used in place of what people would use for like blogs. So maybe you want to talk about a topic. Maybe you want to talk about, preparing your home to sell this fall, and you have a great little video for it. You can go ahead and load that here, put your content over here, and you'll have that built into the page. It's nice and easy to use. You do have an about page. This is totally different from your bio. Again, we're going to cover bios in the next class. But if you wanted to have a different about page, you certainly have those layouts to be able to use. And again, these are different from a bio page. Maybe you need to expand on maybe your history or whatever it happens to be. You can certainly do that. You have what's called a blank page. This is legitimately just a blank page. You can start from scratch and you can put whatever you want to on it. It's not going to have the fancy header or the title or anything else. It's just going to be a blank page. It is going to bring you to that advanced editor so that you can put whatever you want to on it. If you're comfortable with HTML, or you want to do like an embedded video and some photos and things like that, you can certainly do that. So that's going to be that blank page for you. You have pages that are just text. We don't use these very often, but for those of you who do like to write articles, or maybe you want to copy some content that you've written in the past, you can certainly use that and make it kind of an article format. We're going to talk about mobile contact cards in our next class, but do know that you have a mobile contact card that is available. And then we don't usually use these on the agent side, but these are rosters. So for example, if you have a team, and you ask us to do a specific roster in a specific organized way. So for example, our team websites, the roster that comes with them is alphabetical. A number of our teams like it that the team lead or the team principals are ahead of maybe their buyers and sellers agents and their assistants. This is where we can actually create custom rosters on here for that. In this particular case today, I'm just going to go to text and image. It's what we use the most. And I just want to do kind of a quick text and image so that you can see what that looks like. Let me go ahead and find a page. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and use this one with the links, and I'll show you how you can go ahead and remove those. I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to call it something like My Marketing Plan. So this is just going to be a simple page that I can tell people what I do for them when I list their home. This is just a sample page. So remember, this is going to become my URL right here. So My Marketing Plan. It's going to end up being my website, my-marketing-plan. And again, we can go back and change that if we need to. I've chosen the page, and I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down and hit create. If we give it just a second, it will go ahead and load in alphabetical order. So again, we're going to scroll down to My Marketing Plan right here. It's a page, and I can go ahead and edit it. Actually, it's already used that one for class, so let's go ahead and make this one. And again, preview is over here on the right. What I can do is over here on the left. I'm just going to talk through this really fast so that you guys can see what this looks like. So again, here's the blank boxes here. So it's going to give it to us right in order. So we can do something like My Marketing Plan for you. And then we'll just put something quick here. Here's what I love to do for my clients to get their home sold. Okay. Notice that it's going to try to give you the links in here. So I can certainly go ahead and put a link in here if I wanted to. So maybe I'll go ahead and put one in here. For example, let's put something like Work With Me. And I want to send it to my contact page. So I'm going to go ahead and use Ralston's website as an example here. So I'm just going to do HTTPS, and I'm going to put ralstonaudain.com/contact, because I know that that is his contact form that he's going to be have on here. But you could certainly put other things in here as well. Maybe you want to put a link to my solds. And you could certainly put a link to your sold page if you wanted to, or something like client reviews. And you could put a link to your testimonial page down here. Anytime you see that hashtag area, it means that a link is able to be put in there. You'll also see these little instructions that tell you that at the same time. Maybe we don't want to use link 4, 5, and 6. We can certainly just go ahead and take those out. Notice I am just erasing them. So I'm just highlighting, hitting backspace, erasing that. And link 4, 5, and 6 are just going to go away. And we won't have to worry about it. There's nothing to click on over here. Okay. Let me go back up to the top. I forgot to put a header image on this. I'm going to go ahead and choose header image. And again, it's going to bring me to my image library where I can choose a stock company image or my image. I'm just going to go to that company section here and let me grab something maybe nice and simple. I like this farmhouse look. I'm going to just click on it, scroll down to the bottom. And we're going to hit select image here. Should bring that farmhouse look in there for me. There we go. So we have this blank box here at the bottom, and notice that there's no box allowing me to put any content in there. That's because this is something called an advanced editor, and this is where you can put in more content than just what would go in a box. Remember, these boxes have little limited range here. We can bold it, we can change our size, we can change our font, but we really can't do anything else in them. It's just giving us options to do a little bit of changing on here. But if I go to that advanced editor, it's going to bring up a box. This is going to allow us to do a lot of different things. So if I wanted to go ahead and put a different headline, if I wanted to pop in some images, if I wanted to put in some multimedia, I can certainly do that. If I wanted to change what my format was, or again, my fonts, I can certainly do that as well. This does allow you to put in HTML. So for those of you who might be wanting to put in a widget, or you have a little bit of HTML, if you're talented in that department, you can certainly enter your HTML and pop that in here as well. Okay. So for today, though, I'm just going to pop in some basic information. I went ahead and pulled up a little marketing plan. Let me just copy it off screen here. And I'm just going to paste that information in here. There we go. So I created that content earlier today. And it's going to be just a little almost like blog post of how I market a new listing. So I can go ahead and highlight that. I'm going to hit bold. Maybe I'll change that to 14. So when I get a new property, I dive into a variety of marketing strategies to make sure it stands out, things like that. Maybe I want to bold a couple of my headlines here, things like that. Don't have to go into this. I have Grammarly installed on my computer, so it's going to go ahead and bring in all of my different Grammarly options here as well. So we've done a couple of things here, and we've made some changes, things like that. You can certainly see that that can continue on down. Maybe I want to go ahead and bullet point all of those different options. I can certainly highlight them and add some bullet points to them. Let me just do this top one here. Oops. You can certainly add some bullet points. Notice that we can do that on there as well. There's some other options that we have. So certainly you can do some italicize if you want to. You can make a superscript. This is good for the little R after realtor if you need it, whatever it happens to be. If you do want to add photos to this, you can certainly do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and just go down to the bottom so that you can see what that looks like. And I am down here below my text that I had, and maybe I'll go to my image library up here at the top again. Choose an image to pop in here. It's going to load that image in here. If it is too big, you can certainly just go ahead and highlight it. And drag it and drop it till it's a little bit smaller, and pop that image in here as well. Once I've added all of this information in here, I can certainly go ahead and hit save. And now I have this new page. So my marketing plan for you, here's what I love to do, how I market a new listing. Of course, I've made just a couple of changes in here. I added a photo. And when I'm done here, I can go ahead and hit publish. And this is going to go ahead and publish that page for me. And now that's gone live on my website. Now, if I had not hit publish on here, it would not be live on my site. It would just be hanging out in the background. So you are welcome to start creating interior pages. And if you get a call or you need to run or you want to think about it and come back later, you're certainly welcome to do that. Until you hit publish, the changes that you make in here aren't live on your website. So for example, if I wanted to come back and maybe add a few more bullet points, but I wasn't quite ready to publish it yet, I could certainly go back into my content, back into my advanced editor, make my changes that I needed to, hit save, but they would just be hanging out here in the background until I hit that publish box. Just like your homepage as well, all of your past versions are going to be up here. So obviously we don't have too many because we just created this page, but we do have our first version and our second version. So if you do need to get back to a different version, you are welcome to here as well. All right, so we've done some page creation. I want to show you how you can change some of those settings. So I've gone back to our hamburger menu. I've gone back to Sitebuilder, and I'm going back to interior pages just to bring me to that menu. And I said I would show you how you can change your URL and how you can add additional settings for SEO. So I want to scroll down and I'm going to go back to that My Marketing Plan page I just made. So here it is, My Marketing Plan. If I wanted to go back to that edit screen at any time, I could certainly do that. Just hit that edit page. It's going to take me right back to that screen we were just on. But for right now, I want to focus on this settings area right here. If I click that settings button, it's going to open up right below it. Okay. And you're going to notice lots of different things here. So you're going to notice the name. That's literally the name of this page right here. This is for you so that you can keep track of it. There's that URL. So remember I said that anytime we gave it a name, so My Marketing Plan, it became /my-marketing-plan. Anytime that there is a space in your title, it's going to put in a dash to begin with. But then we have all the stuff that belongs for SEO purposes. So your meta title is what shows up on Google in the big headline. Your meta description is what shows up in the little preview on Google right below that headline. So if you wanted to say My Marketing Plan, your description below that would be something describing that. Your keywords are used by Google to try to identify and kind of put this page into different buckets. They devalued keywords a few years ago, but they're still useful and you should probably still put them in here. Something we don't talk about very often is something called this OG title, description, and image. One of the tickets that we get fairly often in web support is, hey, I shared this page to social media and it didn't have an image with it, or it just showed my big face, or it showed something I didn't want, whatever it is. This OG literally means open graph, and it's how social media reads your page. And this is what shows up in that newsfeed when you share that link. So maybe I want to share my marketing plan on my social media page to say, here's what I do for my clients. And I want it to show up on social media correctly. So I can say something like, instead of the title, I'm going to say something like how I market I live in Smithfield, so I'm going to put how I market your Smithfield home. All right. And then my description is going to be a little description that goes in that preview window. This is great for Facebook. So something like, see how I get homes sold quickly. An OG image. This is the image that's going to pop up on social media. Now, if you don't put anything in here, the system is going to try to figure out what you want to do. Most often, they're going to put that header image in there. So remember, I put that farmhouse image. It's going to try to pull that in, but it doesn't always get it right because it's just guessing unless you give it something to look for. So that OG image could be anything. Maybe I'm creating a really specific image in Canva to be able to use so that it pops. Maybe I've got that farmhouse photo, but I put a little banner across the top of it that says, I sell homes quickly, or, 35 homes sold this year, whatever it happens to be. Or I can make sure that it's showing what I want. Maybe I say I want that same farmhouse photo, or maybe I say that farmhouse photo, I used it for the header because I wanted something that was really simple, but I want something that looks a lot better for social media. So I picked this one to begin with. Maybe this is just a little too simple. We want something that's going to grab some more attention. So maybe I'm going to scroll down and maybe grab something like this welcome mat, for example. Certainly screams real estate if somebody were to look. So now it knows that when I share this link to Facebook, this title will be on there. This shorter description will be in there, and it's going to pull in this image instead of trying to guess. We can go back and do the same thing for Google. So instead of saying something like My Marketing Plan, think about how people are going to Google different pages and what they're going to put in there and what headline would grab attention. So Maybe this is something like how to market. How about we do that? How to market your Virginia Beach home. Something like that. Maybe in our description is, here's a sure plan to get your Virginia Beach home sold with Kristen Ricks, Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services, RW, Town Realty. Okay, so that's going to be my longer description in there. And then my keywords are going to be something like sell, home, realtor, maybe my town, so Virginia Beach, marketing, whatever it happens to be. These are keywords that are going to pertain to this single page alone. If you make it too generic, Google's not going to know what to do with it. These keywords and the description and the title should really be specific to the content that's on that page. And by the way, you don't have to make your title, keywords, and descriptions different from your title and description over here on your OG. Of course, that's that social link change. I just happen to, just to give you some examples, but you're certainly welcome to make it the same just for ease of use. Remember I said that you could change your URL. So in this case, it's kind of a long URL, my marketing plan. Maybe we want to shorten that up. This works really well, especially if you're creating community pages. So maybe you have, community, let's just take Ford's Colony again. And we put it in /Ford's-Colony, but we want to use this on a postcard instead. So we can always shorten that up. So maybe we just put something like marketing. So that way, if I wanted to share this on a postcard, or I wanted to share this in an e-card, or I wanted to share it wherever it was, it would be /marketing instead of /my-marketing-plan. And again, this works really well for communities too, if you want to shorten those up. Maybe you want to add what we call a long tail URL. You could certainly do that as well. So this one was my marketing plan. Maybe we want to do marketing plan to sell your home. So these are what we call long tail URLs, that they're used in specific cases if we want to actually have the title of what we're trying to do in those. We wouldn't normally obviously share this link in its full form online. We wouldn't put that link like on a postcard or things like that. So there's different use cases for it. So both a short link, if it does have a great title, description, keywords, and content, will work just fine. But sometimes we like that long tail URL, as we call it, just for Google to be able to identify more of what's on that page and to be able to kind of match the keywords that people might be searching for. Once we've made those changes, so I've changed my URL, I've changed my meta title, I've changed description, I've added some stuff for social media, we can certainly go ahead and click update. Just for ease of use, I'm going to go ahead and take that down to marketing so I can get back to it really easy. And I'm going to hit the update button, and that's done. So you don't have to go back and publish after you do that. You don't have to go back and change your interior page. You just have to go ahead and change it in the settings section. So if I click settings again, you'll see that it stayed as /marketing, and here's all that information we changed. If I go to my website and I just put in marketing, there's that page I created, my marketing plan for you. Here's what I love to do to get their home sold. Here's some links. There's that content that I created. There's that photo that went in there as well. So we've gone over a lot today. I've showed you all the different kinds of interior pages that we've had. We've showed you how to add different things like some simple forms and also some content in here. I've shown you how you can go back and edit the page if you need to and where you can find those interior pages. And we've also gone over some best practices for changing your settings. So changing and adding things like your meta title information and how social media views your links when you share them. Does anybody have any questions before we go ahead and end this class? And again, do remember that we will cover all of the different interior pages that we didn't cover today in our next class. So it's kind of a part 2. No questions today. All right. Well, then I will let you all get back to your very productive days. And I thank you so much for joining us in the Learning Lab to go over interior content pages, how to create and update content for your website. I hope to see you again next time.